I suck as a cameraman, honestly. There you go. Yeah, all right. I got this guy in here. He's stuck. Should I let him out of the box? Should I let this guy out of this box? Do you see him? I'll make put them back in the box. I trapped them. Does anyone say anything? No, I don't say anything. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a dump. Yeah, nobody said anything. That's alright. That's cool. Sorry. I have to grab the shirt. Don't yell at me. I have to grab it. Please don't yell at me. I'll fix everything. Just let me grab one thing. It's too late. I have to grab the shirt. Don't, I'm just trying to get my shirt. I want my shirt. It's easier getting the shirt. I want my shirt. No, we're not doing this right now, bro. Get my cat and shut the light off. You don't get the shirt right now. I don't have to yell at me for everything. Get my cat. You don't shut it and turn to me. Get my cat. Now. It's dropping. Stop. Don't even know when you're going to stop. Don't say it. I'm just trying to get a shirt. Oh.
I think the month that we're coming into is the toughest month for a lot of people. Is it possible to be sad and optimistic? I just have to get my emotions in balance by Monday, that's all. It helps me to sit in the quiet. Because I have, like, the high freaking functioning, autism, freaking Asperger's. And when I'm upset, I can get freaking sensory overload a lot easier. It just adds to it. When you're in a place and there's a bunch of noise and you say to yourself, I can't even hear myself think. When I'm having a tough time, I kind of isolate a lot. So I get to a place of being comfortable and try to make sure there's not a bunch of noise, a bunch of bright lights. I close my eyes. And you can just kind of, it's a lot easier to think. When you're like super upset and your mind races, just try to do whatever it takes to slow down your thoughts. If you're having 30 thoughts in your mind every minute, and say half of them are pretty crappy thoughts. That's that's freaking 400. Or is it 4,050 thoughts an hour that are the shitty thoughts? But just because it's a shitty thought doesn't mean you don't entertain it. But it's a lot easier to process things when you're in a calm place and away from a lot of people. Or when you're having a bad time, you might not ask for it, but everyone tries to volunteer their insight on how you should feel and shit. From personal experience, if they don't ask you, Just keep your comments to yourself, right? I've had some tough days, and I know a lot to be freaking thankful for, but it's probably my toughest day in the last 4 years. Easy. It's a lot of little things. It adds up, you know. If you're dealing with freaking one thing, right? But you know how life is, so freaking life's like, oh, I mean, dude, I got my sister a train ticket a few thousand miles away, and she was supposed to be here. Instead, like, she tried to kill herself, and I was processing all of that all week while I was at work. I'm tearing up, crying. It hit me hard. And everyone's got all the answers until it's their experiences, until it's their family, right? When someone's having a really bad day, like, don't try to direct them, just let them get through their day. Don't put all this shit on them. Talk to my sister. She's in a mental health place. And I have to tell her not to come out. I explained how her attempt on her life has affected me in a lot of ways, and for the majority of the day. I told her the truth. Well, I didn't want her to come anymore. And then she talked to me like in a demon voice. And she talked to herself and said, he's being paranoid and delusional. Hang up. It went click. And I texted her and I said, I heard you say before you hung up that I'm being paranoid and delusional. I'm just telling you how I reacted to you trying to take your life. I'm telling you the truth. It's shitty and it hit me hard. And that was all cool. I kind of moped around for a little bit. I get an email on my phone. And people on the next door, they're asking about one of my buddy's businesses. So I call my buddy. They don't answer. I call his friend, and he told me my friend hung himself. Like, and that's the same ideology I was having earlier in the day. After last night, it's like, you know, had 2-3 hour long, like a manic episode. I didn't freak out or anything. I was just thinking a lot of freaking negative things, you know. But yeah, I talked to my friend's sister, told her no, and she had just tried to take her life, so it kind of triggered my, because I've tried before a handful of times, and I made attempts on my life before, and so when you've done that, and then someone close to you, they do it or they try it, like my sister did, you start thinking like that if you don't watch it. The negative self-talk just kept getting more and more intense, and I kept telling myself all these different things I need to do. I was sounding like everyone else, right? I ultimately prayed, asked God for a little peace. And I calmed down for a little bit, right? Took a little power nap, woke up, felt better. Kind of massage, I put up some trees, sit on the couch. Still kind of processing things. Still sad that they're not coming out anymore for the holidays. I got a text that, yeah, my buddy's gone. And I don't, he took his life today. I wonder if I, and I didn't, and the whole morning I was looking for like a tree branch and all this shit, planning it out. Found a rope. Inevitably, I didn't get, further than that. And I started listening to some freaking Jim Carrey about, suffering leads to salvation. Kind of snapped out of it. A family starts to come over. I'm like, okay, I got a grip on this. Hell yeah. Put some food in my system. We're listening to music, and then I found that out. And I've never cried like that before. And I'm not pretty when I cry. I wasn't crying. I was like, ooh, I was wailing. Because I had already been pushed, like, to my breaking point, and I followed up with a few other friends to confirm, and he's gone. And the reason I care so much is because when I was homeless, I remember all the people that treated me like a human being. I don't remember everything that people said to me, but people will never forget the way that you make them feel. And they made me feel like I was a person. And that's one of the biggest freaking struggles when you're homeless is you lose your identity, like you lose your humanity, your individuality, because you're just thrown in the group of homeless. And that's like horrible because it robs you of opportunities that you desperately need, like jobs and all that. And you start feeling bad about yourself and you start letting your freaking hygiene go. All these things, right? So I wailed, I cried for a little bit, realizing there's nothing I could physically do right then and there. I called my closest buddies and I did like a little roll call. I made sure everybody's all right. I let them, let them know what happened to our buddy. And before we got off the phone, they reminded me why we're like, I'm lucky I got good friends. I got a family now. And I have a lot to be grateful for. And it sucked yesterday, or I guess the day before, right? I sucked that I was so depressed. It's not good luck. Because that's the day you're supposed to be grateful. It's hard to appear to be grateful if you're upset about all these things, right? So yeah, today I ended up just trying to isolate, spend some time sitting by myself, going over all the things that are bothering me. My mom that passed away, her two sisters, my aunts, have always been the only family I really talked to, and and they and my two favorite aunts, they both passed away last month, one after the other, like a week apart. So the last month I've been carrying all this, and then before I get rid of the weight, like someone's like, "Oh, here, let me put this on there," and then you figure out you put it in the book bag and you carry it with you right to work and everything. But you know you're at your wit's end. You know you're pretty upset. I'm sad. It's alright to be alone, to have some clarity and to think things through. That's the key, right? If a man is able to be alone, then he should be able to do anything. Because, like they say, our greatest enemies are self. And if you have bad thoughts about yourself, you gotta nip it in the bud and focus on other things. I looked at my steps, and since my aunts, my steps went from here and then they went a little lower, and something else happened, and my average daily steps went down a little more. I think walking is really important, and breathing. Nature's important. Air. All the other things are tools, but they're not necessary. You can survive without having approval from others, but you can't survive without food. You can't survive without water. But this is brave. This is the toughest day I've had. In a long time. I'm kind of starting to get a little delirious because I'm emotionally exhausted. Put on a jacket, okay? I just wanted to share that. Have a good day. Bye.